So Bernie Sanders is doing a town hall coming up on Fox News, and the establishment people just lost their minds. They went nuts. Um, it was kind of funny to watch it unfold on Twitter, like the reactions from like, what the f is Bernie doing? And he's gonna destroy the party. And like, I mean, it's just like, mass drama and hysteria. And but also, to be fair, I also did see some Bernie supporters who were concerned about this too. And their main concern was that him going on Fox News is kind of legitimizing them, like giving them some cred, because which is not good, because given how racist and homophobic and trash like they've become, him going on there kind of is like, like, okay, I'm like accepting of this, right? Which he's not, but I do see where that concern is coming from, which is why I wanted to do this video to kind of point out why I think it's a good idea that Bernie is doing this Fox town hall, but also how it's a demonstration of the kind of president and his leadership style. So first of all, when Bernie says not me, us, we the 99%, that means all of us. That means, in his rally speeches, he talks about, regardless of age and gender and religion and sexual orientation, like he doesn't talk about political orientation, right? Whether you're left, right, center, or independent, right? All of that is included in the 99%. So that's all of us. And whether we like it or not, Fox News right now is the top cable news network for mainstream media news. Like they're top. I know it's kind of scary, but that's a lot of viewers. So when he becomes president, he's just not going to ignore that segment of society. Right? And Fox News will be talking about him all the time because he will be president of the United States. That will come up often. And, constantly they'll be bashing the whole, like, oh my God, a socialist has become president and it's all going to go to hell now, right? So, and that's how it's going to be. So Bernie going on, doing this, so he gets to kind of direct the narrative, right? So this is like his town hall. And it's also kind of another dig at the DNC, because the DNC is not allowing Fox to host any of the debates. So, that was another little drama over there. And I think, I posted this on Twitter. I think one of the reasons that the establishment people really just kind of went like nutsoid over Bernie going on Fox is because, they rely on this duality, divisive narrative to keep us in fear and manipulation so they can control us, right? And so Bernie doesn't play into that narrative, and it drives them crazy because he's not into team sports, right? He's not like team Democrat versus team Republican. Like that's how on mainstream media news, that's what it is constantly. It's like this it's like Gladiator with all these like competing things, and Bernie doesn't play into that. If anything, if he does do a team, he's like team human or team earth. He focuses on the bigger things that we really need to be focusing on. So the fact that he doesn't buy into that narrative, and he does what leaders should be doing, talking to all the people, like everybody, especially people who are in another realm, a different viewpoint, worldview. Like, he's going out he's reaching out to them. He's crossing the chasm. And, he's there. And what I like too, and again, this is my perspective, is that he's not doing this to bring unity. There's a lot of this unity message, crossing the aisle. Like Bernie's crossing the chasm to listen, to like hear their stories, to ask them questions. Like he wants to hear what is their pain, what is their suffering, and people really get that from him. They know he's genuine and he's honest and that he really cares. I mean, like poll after poll, when they talk about, you know, who people think of politicians, like who's the most honest, you know, Bernie's always up there. I mean, even his own Republican, you know, counterparts, they all, you know, they all say, yeah, you know, Bernie is a man of his word. He walks the talk. Like he's the most forthright, straight shooter, honest one in the Congress, you know? And yeah, so again, that's another thing I think what it drives the establishment crazy, because then it forces them to like be better people, right? Because they like being corrupt. They like this old, they were like, oh, we get money from the donors and do their bidding, and it was, you know, before that was okay. Now it's not, right? Because Bernie has changed that narrative, and he's hired the bar, and now they have to behave like good people, like actual good leaders who serve their constituents instead of serving the donors. So, you know, we have that dynamic going on. So, you know, going back to the town hall, so some of the benefits of this is that, you know, first of all, which I think is really ironic, Fox News is doing this town hall on April 15th, which is the day taxes due, so it'll be easy to remember. But they're doing it at prime time. It's going to be 6:30 California time, which is prime cable time. CNN did theirs at 5 o'clock, which we know that they intentionally did that to suppress their ratings, because they can't show that Bernie Sanders, you know, got the highest ratings of all the town halls. And I know this because all the other candidates were on at 7 o'clock California time, except Bernie. Fox News is putting him on at 6:30. And it's in Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is a swing state, right? So it's not a very red state. It's a swing state that possibly could go blue in 2020, right? When it's a Trump-Bernie matchup, Pennsylvania could go to Bernie Sanders, because Trump only won that state by 1 point, by 1. So this is another opportunity, you know, for Bernie to get in front of those voters and, you know, and make his case and talk to them and listen to them and talk about, like, this is how Medicare for all and raising the minimum to 15 and getting it, you know, free college, like how all of that will benefit them. And, you know, which again is compelling no matter where you fall on the political spectrum. So Bernie will do that. And the benefit for his Bernie supporters to watch is also how to learn how to speak to conservative and conservative-leaning voters. So when we're out campaigning, especially for those of us who are in red states, red areas, and new people. I learned a lot in 2016 by watching Bernie on these town halls. And one of the greatest, actually speaking about one of the greatest Bernie moments we got in town halls was last time he was on Fox with Bret Baier, and Bernie was talking about how healthcare should be a right, and Bret was like, well, where in your mind does that come from? Like, why do you think that? And Bernie said, being a human being. So, you know, in the audience, they were just like, oh, wow, right? What a concept. Yeah, you know, and you know, remember, Bernie also did like town halls in Trump country. He did a couple of them on mainstream media, and you know, you could see the tension in the beginning, and then, but as time went on, he was explaining things to them. Like, you can see these moments of awakening in these people, and even like, wait, yeah, healthcare is a right. We should all have, you know, we shouldn't go bankrupt or die because we can't afford healthcare. And really, you want to raise my hourly to 15, right? Some of these states, it's like their minimum is the federal minimum of $7.25 or $8.75. I mean, you know, if your minimum is $8.75 and you go up to 15, that's a 42% hike. That's like $13,000 more a year. And then you couple that with Medicare for all, like all of a sudden, that sounds really exciting, right? That sounds really compelling. And, you know, something that people are like, oh, well, what has 45 done for us lately, right? Nothing like that. So anyway, this is why I think, again, tune in on April 15th, learn from the master himself. Let's see how, also like what kind of questions that people in Pennsylvania care about. But all in all, I think it's a really good thing, and we should all tune in to not only support Bernie and learn from him, right? We're not, instead of looking at it as supporting Fox, we're supporting Bernie, because his ratings, if his ratings are high on that show, he's going to be back on there. And then, mainstream media, if that like show has high ratings, they're all going to be like, ugh, they're going to have to put him on more often because of ratings. All right.